Emeka, look at yourself. Customer scout, you run up and down shouting over goods you don't have, and you must be insane to think I will end up with a dirty customer scout like you. Get lost. Emeka, look at yourself. Are you dreaming?
What are you saying? What did I do? But we were fine yesterday. You said you loved me.
Love does not pay for a duplex. Love does not buy a car. Love does not change my status.
I'm done with this. We are finished.
They laughed at him, right there in the middle of Idamoda Market, called him useless, called him poor. But what they didn't know was that this moment would change his life forever. It was a busy Monday morning in Idamoda. Traders shouting, buyers dragging prices, wheelbarrow pushers yelling, "Clear road!" And in the middle of that chaos stood Emeka, smiling, because walking towards him was the girl he loved. Chikamso. But before he could even say a word, her voice cut through the air. "You must be insane to think I will end up with a dirty customer scout like you. Get lost." The entire market went quiet. Emeka froze. His smile disappeared instantly. "Chikamso, what are you saying? What did I do?" he asked, his voice shaking. She laughed. Not a soft laugh. A dry, painful laugh. "Look at yourself, Emeka. Running up and down shouting for customers over goods you don't even own, and you think I will marry you?" People had started gathering, watching, whispering, enjoying the drama. "But we were fine yesterday. You said you loved me," Emeka said slowly. She stepped closer, lowered her voice, and said something that would stay in his heart forever. "Love does not pay for a duplex. Love does not buy a car. Love does not change my status." Those words cut deeper than a knife. Then she pointed behind him. "Do you see that car?" Emeka turned slowly. A black Lexus Jeep, shining, powerful, the kind of car that announces wealth without speaking. "The owner of that car is Chief Obinna," she said proudly. "He is the one I am with now." Emeka's heart dropped. "What are you saying? Since when?" he whispered. She smiled, not with love, but with victory. "Since I realized I cannot be poor all my life because of love." Just then, the driver opened the car door, and a big man stepped out. Gold chain, expensive clothes, power in his walk. Chikamso rushed to him. "Good morning, Chief," she said sweetly, a voice Emeka had never heard before. Chief Obinna looked at Emeka from head to toe. Who is this boy? He asked. Before Emeka could speak,
Just one
Chikamso
useless boy
answered,
that thinks he can marry
"Nobody.
me.
Just one useless boy that thinks he can marry me." Chief Obinna laughed, a heavy laugh, the kind of laugh money gives a man. Emeka wanted to speak, to shout, to ask why, but his voice refused to come out. Then she looked at him one last time and said, "Next time you see me, greet me properly, because I am no longer in your class." She entered the car. The door closed, and just like that, she was gone. The Jeep drove away, and Emeka stood there, in the middle of the market, broken, silent, empty. Musa walked up to him slowly, placed a hand on his shoulder. For a long time, nobody spoke. Then finally, Emeka said, "Musa, in this Lagos, being poor is an insult." Musa sighed, then replied quietly, "No, my brother, being poor is not the problem. The problem is being poor and having nobody to respect you." That day, Emeka closed his notebook, and for the first time in years, he did not call a single customer because something inside him had changed forever, and that was the beginning of a new life. Grab a seat, because this is not just a story. This is a journey of love, betrayal, pain, and survival right in the heart of Nigeria. If you love real-life stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because what you are about to hear might change how you see life forever. Now listen carefully. This is the story of Emeka, a struggling man in his early 30s, a man who came from nothing, no connections, no money, no support, just hope, and the strength to keep pushing every single day. Emeka was born into a very poor family, the kind of family where one meal a day was a blessing, the kind of family where dreams were big, but opportunities were small. But Emeka was different. He was content, not because he loved poverty, but because he believed one day his story would change. So every morning, before the sun even rose, he would wake up, dress up, and head to Idumota Market. There, he worked as a customer scout, running up and down under the hot Lagos sun, looking for buyers for goods that were not even his. If he found a customer, he would eat. If he didn't, he would go to bed hungry. That was his life. But through all the struggle, through all the suffering, there was one person who made everything feel worth it. Chikamso, a beautiful young woman, also from a poor background. But unlike Emeka, Chikamso was not content with struggle. She had tasted hardship, and she hated it. She was a Lagos girl with expensive taste. She wanted more money, more comfort, more status. And for a long time, she believed Emeka was the man she would build that life with. They struggled together. They dreamed together. They planned a future together. Emeka loved her deeply. In fact, he didn't just love her, he sacrificed for her. When she had nothing, he gave her everything he could. When she was hungry, he found a way to feed her. When she wanted to give up, he stood by her. To Emeka, Chikamso was not just his girlfriend, she was his future. But life has a way of testing love, because everything changed. The day Chikamso met a man, a powerful man, a wealthy man, a man who had everything Emeka did not have, Chief Obinna, a well-known businessman in Idumota Market, a man whose presence alone commanded respect. Money followed him, power followed him, and just like that, without warning, without preparation, Chikamso's heart began to shift. What started as admiration slowly turned into temptation. And temptation became a decision that would change everything, because sometimes in life, it only takes one choice to destroy everything you once believed in. And what happened next will shock you. Being truly in love can break a man in ways nobody sees. After the humiliation in Idumota Market, Emeka walked away like a man carrying invisible wounds. The market was still loud, traders shouting, buses honking, wheelbarrow pushers screaming, "Clear road!" But inside Emeka's heart, everything was silent. He was walking, but he was not seeing the road. His mind was somewhere else. He kept seeing Chikamso, hearing her voice. "You are not my level. Dirty customer scout. I am no longer in your class." Every word repeated in his head like punishment. As he walked slowly through Lagos streets, memories began to flood his mind. He remembered when Chikamso was in catering school, those difficult days when she had almost nothing. Sometimes she would call him crying. "Emeka, I have not eaten since morning." And even though Emeka himself was struggling, he would borrow money just to feed her. There was a time her school almost sent her away because of unpaid fees. Emeka ran around Idumota for 2 full days, begging people for help, until he completed the money. Not because he had plenty, but because love made him sacrifice. He remembered the day she finished school. She cried in his arms and said, "I don't want to go back to the village. I want to succeed in Lagos." Emeka believed in her dream, so he gave her 200,000 naira. Money he borrowed, money he saved painfully for 2 years, money meant for his own future. He used it to help Chikamso start her POS business. That day she cried and hugged him tightly. "Emeka, you are not just my boyfriend, you are my family. I will never forget this." But forever. Ended the moment Chief Obinna arrived. That evening, Emeka sat alone on a wooden bench, staring into nothing. Then he whispered, "So this is how poor people lose everything, even love." That night, Emeka did not go home. He slept inside one of the shops he helped bring customers to, using empty cartons as his bed and his small bag as pillow. Sleep refused to come. Pain kept him awake. He turned and stared at the ceiling, then asked softly, "God, is it a crime to be poor?" Tears rolled down his face, quietly, because nobody sees when a grown man cries alone. This was the struggle many people never notice, the hidden pain of a Lagos hustler. Wake up before sunrise, enter crowded buses, stand under hot sun all day, search for customers. Beg traders to remember your effort, smile even when your heart is tired, and if rain falls, your whole day can scatter. If sickness comes, nobody cares, but still, you must send money home, because family is waiting. Emeka was not suffering for himself alone. He was suffering for his mother, for his younger sister in school, for his younger brother learning trade. Yet the same girl he sacrificed for called him useless. 1 week later, life hit him again. Emeka brought a big customer to an electronics trader. The customer bought many expensive goods. Emeka calculated quickly. His commission should be 50,000 naira. 50,000. Money that could solve many problems. But after the customer left, the trader looked at him and said, "Emeka, this customer said he already knew this shop. I will just give you 5,000 for transport." Emeka froze. He knew the man was lying. He knew he was being cheated. Anger burned inside him. But poverty teaches silence, because when a poor man gets angry, people call him troublesome. So Emeka collected the 5,000 naira and walked away quietly. Later Musa saw him. "My brother, you look like someone they cheated." Emeka laughed painfully. "In this Lagos, if you are poor, people will use you and still insult you." Days passed. Emeka stopped calling Chikamso, but sometimes he still passed near her POS stand. Before, she used to smile when she saw him. Now, she turned her face away, like he never existed. One afternoon, he overheard her telling someone, "I suffered before, but now I am in a better place. I cannot go back to my past." Emeka stopped walking. His chest tightened. Then he whispered, "So I am now her past." That was the exact moment something changed inside him. Love died, completely. And when love died, fear died too. That evening, Emeka and Musa sat quietly watching the market close. Shops shutting down, people counting money, another hard day ending. Musa looked at him seriously. "Emeka, what is your plan now? You cannot live like this forever." Emeka stared at the market. Then something powerful happened. For the first time, he stopped looking at his pain and started looking at opportunity. He said slowly, "I know this market better than many shop owners. I know who sells cheaper. I know who imports original goods. I know who cheats customers. I know everything." Musa listened carefully. Emeka continued, "So if I know all this, why am I still poor?" He paused, then answered his own question. "Poverty is not because I lack knowledge. Poverty is because I lack opportunity." Musa asked softly, "So what will you do?" Emeka stood up, closed his notebook, looked Musa in the eyes, and said words that would change his future forever. "I will not die a middleman. I will become the man middlemen bring customers to." And that night, a new Emeka was born. But Emeka had no idea. That very soon, opportunity would finally knock, and when it came, his honesty would be tested by money he had never seen before. In life, opportunity does not come with noise. It comes quietly and tests everything about you. After months of pain, struggle, and silent determination, Emeka was no longer the same man. He was still poor. But something inside him had changed. His thinking, his focus, his hunger. And one evening, in the same Idumota market where he was once insulted, opportunity finally found him. A man had come to the market. Not just any man, a businessman, looking for someone who could supply goods in large quantities. But there was a condition. He needed someone
Where can
honest,
I find someone that knows
someone
this
who knew
market
the
very
market well, someone he
You
could
should look
trust.
for a man called
People looked
Emeka.
around, then pointed in one direction. Go and meet that boy. He knows everybody in this market. That boy was Emeka. That was how Emeka met Mr. Attawale, a calm, observant man. The kind of man who doesn't talk too much, but sees everything. They spoke for a long time. Business, market, traders, prices, original goods, fake goods. At the end of the conversation, Mr. Attawale asked one question. A simple question, but a powerful one. If I give you an opportunity, will you disappoint me? Emeka didn't hesitate. Sir, a poor man does not disappoint opportunity. A poor man fears losing opportunity. Mr. Attawale looked at him, then smiled. That smile was the beginning of something big. But Emeka didn't know yet that the same Idumota market where he was insulted would become the place where his life would change forever. Days passed, then weeks. Emeka and Mr. Attawale met several times, talking, planning, testing each other, until one Sunday evening. Emeka's phone rang. It was Mr. Attawale. Meet me at the hotel nearby, he said. Emeka didn't waste time. 1 hour later, he arrived. Mr. Attawale was waiting, calm, watching, studying him. Then he asked slowly, "If I give you money, will you run away with it?" The question was heavy, the kind of question that tests a man's soul. Emeka didn't answer immediately, because the truth was, he had never seen that kind of money before. Then, Mr. Attawale opened a black bag slightly, and inside was money, bundles, neat, heavy, tempting. Emeka's heart started beating fast. For 1 second, just 1 second, a dangerous thought entered his mind. If I carry this money and disappear, my life will change overnight. No more suffering, no more sleeping in shops, no more insults, but immediately, another voice spoke inside him. And become what? A thief? Run forever? Lose your name? Lose your peace? Mr. Attawale was still watching him. Then he asked again, this time louder. Emeka, answer me. Will you run? Emeka lifted his head, looked straight into his eyes, and said, Sir, a poor man can steal money, but he cannot steal peace. If I run, I will never sleep again. Silence filled the room. For a moment, nothing moved. Then, Mr. Attawale smiled, a deep, satisfied smile. He had found what he was looking for. That night, everything changed. For the first time in his life, Emeka was trusted with something big, real money, real responsibility, real business. He was given instructions, source electronics from different shops in Idumota, arrange them properly, prepare them for delivery, send them to Abuja. For the first time, Emeka was not begging customers. He was not chasing people. He was handling business, serious business. He moved through the market like a man on a mission, from one shop to another, confident, focused, different. And something strange began to happen. Traders who used to ignore him now stood up when they saw him. Emeka, come, what do you need? Respect had started changing direction, because in this life, respect follows value, but success always comes with tests. On the third day, one trader tried to play a smart game. He mixed fake goods with original ones, hoping Emeka would not notice. But this was not the old Emeka. This was a new man, a man with purpose. Emeka looked at the goods carefully, then raised his head and said firmly, "Remove this fake one. I am not the same boy you used to cheat." The trader laughed. Or what? Emeka stepped closer, his voice calm, but strong. Or I take my business to your next shop. Silence. The trader quickly changed the goods. That moment, Emeka understood something powerful. Respect follows money. A week later, it was time for the next step, Abuja. For the first time in his life, Emeka was traveling for business, not struggle, business, inside the night bus, sleep refused to come. He sat by the window, watching darkness pass by, thinking, reflecting. From sleeping in a shop to traveling with goods worth millions. He shook his head slowly, then whispered, "God, please don't let this opportunity spoil." The journey felt long, but his hope was longer. When they arrived in Abuja, the goods were delivered, checked, sold, and the result changed everything. Later that day, Mr. Adewale called him. "Emeka." "Yes, sir," he replied quickly. "Your profit is 350,000 naira. Emeka froze. His heart skipped. "Sir, how much?" he asked again. 350,000 naira. That is your share." Silence. Emeka sat down slowly. 350,000. That was more than weeks of running up and down, months of suffering, years of being a middleman. Tears filled his eyes. But this time, they were not tears of pain. They were tears of breakthrough, tears of relief, tears of a man whose life was finally beginning to change, and deep inside his heart, one truth became clear. Opportunity had come, and he did not waste it. But little did he know, this was just the beginning. Because very soon, success would rise, money would grow, and the same people who once ignored him would start calling his name, and one day, someone from his past would walk back into his life, not with pride, but with regret. Life has a strange way of moving people in different directions. While Emeka was building his life step by step, Chikamso was living a completely different story. After leaving Emeka, her relationship with Chief Obinna grew stronger. What started as attraction turned into comfort, and comfort turned into a lifestyle she had always dreamed of. Chief Obinna spared no expense. He opened a luxury makeup store for her, a beautiful shop, well-furnished, attracting customers and attention. People now called her Madam. Not the struggling girl from before, but a woman of status. Then came something even bigger. Chief Obinna rented a beautiful apartment for her, a place filled with comfort, soft beds, bright lights, peaceful nights, a life far away from the noise of struggle. And as if that was not enough, he gifted her a luxury Lexus car, shining, elegant, powerful, the kind of car that makes people turn and stare. Chikamso had finally become what she always wanted, respected, admired, envied. Then life took another turn. She became pregnant. Months passed, and she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Chief Obinna was happy, very happy. He held the child proudly and made her a promise. "I will marry you." Those words gave Chikamso peace. She believed she had finally secured her future. A rich man, a child, a comfortable life, everything she once prayed for. But while she was enjoying love and luxury, something else was happening. Far away from her world, Emeka was rising. Silently, steadily, powerfully. What started as small business began to grow into something big. Deals increased, money multiplied, connections expanded, and before long, Emeka was no longer just comfortable. He was successful, very successful. Then one day, he did something nobody expected. Emeka built a mansion, not just any house, a golden-colored mansion, beautiful, massive, standing proudly in Lagos. And he didn't stop there. He built another one, in his village, because he had not forgotten where he came from sleeping on cartons to owning mansions, from begging customers to commanding business. Life had truly changed. And then came another sign of success. Emeka was now driving a luxury Lexus Jeep, white in color, with gold wheels, clean, powerful, untouchable. The same boy they once ignored had become a man nobody could ignore. 2 lives, 2 different paths. One built on comfort and promises, the other built on pain and discipline. But life was about to bring those 2 worlds together again. Because very soon, Luxury would fade, truth would rise, and a meeting that nobody expected would change everything. Sometimes, what looks like success is only the beginning of a fall. At first, Chikamso thought she had won in life. Everything she ever wanted was finally in her hands. Chief Obinna gave her a life she once dreamed of. He rented a shop for her, a beautiful shop, well-arranged, attracting customers. He bought her a new phone, gave her money without stress, took her to expensive restaurants, places she had only seen in pictures before. Slowly, her life changed, and with it, she changed too. She stopped answering calls from old friends. She stopped going to Itamoda Market. She stopped remembering where she came from. She stopped being the girl Amika once knew. Now, she was Madame Chikamso, respected, admired, envied. But life has a way of reminding people that borrowed things do not last forever. One evening, everything began to change. Her phone rang. It was Chief Obinna, but his voice was different, weak, uncertain. "Don't come to the house today," he said. Chikamso frowned. "Why, Chief?" There was silence. Then he spoke slowly. "My wife is back." The words hit her like thunder. "Your wife?" she asked, confused. "I thought you said she lives in America." Chief Obinna sighed. "She lives in the United Kingdom. She is a lawyer, and she has returned with the children." Silence. Cold, heavy silence. For the first time, fear entered Chikamso's heart. 2 days later, the truth arrived. Not with noise, not with shouting, but with presence. Chief Obinna's wife came to the shop, dressed simply, but with quiet power. The kind of presence that does not need to speak loudly to be respected. She walked in slowly, looked around the shop, then turned her eyes to Chikamso, calm, sharp, unshaken. "So, you are the girl my husband wants to marry?" Chikamso tried to speak, but no words came out. Her throat went dry, her body froze. Then the woman stepped forward and spoke again. "Let me introduce myself properly." Her voice was calm, but every word carried weight. "I am the owner of this shop. I am the owner of the house you live in. I am the owner of the cars you drive with my husband." She paused, then added, "Because everything my husband has, we built it together." Those words shattered everything. Chikamso's legs began to shake. Her confidence disappeared. Her pride vanished. Then the woman dropped the final truth. "I was the one that brought Chief Obinna to the United Kingdom. I was the one that sponsored his first business. I was the one that connected him to the contracts he is doing today." She moved closer, lowered her voice, and said quietly, "If my husband tries that nonsense of marrying you, I will divorce him. And take everything." She paused, then finished. "And when I am done, both of you will start from zero." The shop became silent, heavy, uncomfortable. Nobody moved, nobody spoke. Then she picked up her phone and called her lawyer. "Lock this shop. From today, this shop is closed." Just like that. Everything ended. The shop was locked, the business stopped, the money stopped, the comfort disappeared, the life she thought was hers vanished overnight. Days passed, then weeks. The house rent stopped, the car stopped coming. Chief Obinna stopped calling like before. His attention faded. His love changed. Everything changed. One day, he finally called her, but not with love, not with care. His voice was distant. "Please don't call me again for now. Things are difficult. My wife has taken control of everything." The call ended, and with it, the illusion ended. That was the moment Chikamso understood something powerful. All that glitters is not gold. She sat alone, in silence. Then slowly, memories began to return, not of wealth, but of love. She remembered Ameka. She remembered the small restaurant where they used to eat together, the way he waited for her after work, the way he sacrificed everything for her. She remembered the 200,000 naira he gave her, the school fees he paid, the nights he stood by her when she had nothing. Tears filled her eyes. Not small tears, deep tears, the kind that come from regret. She sat on the bed and cried. This time, nobody saw her, nobody comforted her, nobody cared, because the same world that once celebrated her had moved on. Through her tears, she whispered, "I left the man who loved me and followed the man who used me." Silence filled the room, heavy, painful, real, and in that silence, a lesson was born. In life, always pray that the people who left you do not meet you again at the same place they left you. Sometimes, life doesn't give you a second chance. It gives you a lesson. Weeks had passed since Chikamso lost everything, the money, the comfort, the attention, all gone. Her world of riches and admiration had crumbled overnight. And now, she was back where it all began, Idumota. She walked slowly into the market, trying to blend with the crowd. No expensive car, no flashy clothes, no driver, just herself. And a heart full of regret. The same voices filled the air. "Madam, buy something! Oga, original goods! Clear road!" The same market, the same noise. But this time, life was different, very different. She walked slowly, step by step, until she stopped. In front of a shop, a big shop, beautiful, busy, customers everywhere, middlemen calling people inside. She looked up and froze. The signboard read, "Emeka and Sons Electronics." Her heart began to race, fast, heavy, uncontrollable. Her hands started shaking, her chest tightened. For a moment, she didn't know what to do, to enter or to run, but something pulled her forward. Curiosity, shame, regret. She stepped inside, quietly, carefully, as if nothing had happened, inside the shop. Emeka was sitting down, well-dressed, calm, confident, talking to a customer, a completely different man. He looked up. Their eyes met, for a brief second. Time stopped, but Emeka didn't react. He simply smiled faintly, controlled, unbothered, as if she was just another customer. "Good afternoon," she said softly, her voice weak, uncertain. "Good afternoon. How can I help you?" Emeka replied, his tone calm, professional, distant. Chikamso's heart skipped. I just want to see some phones." She walked around, pretending to look, but her eyes never left him, because the truth was clear. The boy she once mocked was gone. In his place stood a man she could no longer control, strong, respected, untouchable. Finally, she couldn't hold it anymore. "Emeka," she whispered, her voice shaking. I never thought it would be like this." Emeka slowly put down the notebook in his hand, then looked at her, deeply, not with anger, not with hate, but with quiet strength. "Chikamso, do you know why you are here?" She shook her head slowly, afraid. "You came back thinking life would give you another chance, that you could walk back into my life like nothing happened, but life doesn't work that way." Tears began to fall from her eyes. "You left me when I was nothing. You chose wealth over love. You chose promises over loyalty." She couldn't speak. Her voice was gone. "I loved you with everything I had," Emeka continued. "I stood by you when nobody did. I gave you money when I had nothing. I believed in you when you doubted yourself." He paused, then spoke softly. "But you walked away, for gold that was never yours." Those words broke her completely. She fell to her knees, her voice barely a whisper. "Emeka, please forgive me. I was foolish. I lost everything." Emeka shook his head gently, not in anger, but in truth. "Forgiveness is not just words, Chikamso. It is actions, and your actions cost you everything." Silence filled the shop, heavy, painful, real. He stepped back slightly, then said calmly, "I don't hate you, but I have moved on. I am no longer the boy you disrespected, and I am no longer the man who waits for someone who leaves at the first sight of money." She looked at him, and for the first time, she truly saw him. Not as a poor boy, not as a middleman, but as a man, complete, strong, unshaken. Her voice broke again. "I see it now. I see what I had. I see you." Amika smiled slightly, then said the words that would stay with her forever. "The lesson is simple. Love is priceless. Loyalty is priceless. Money, status, wealth can disappear at any time. But what you destroy, because of greed, may never come back." Tears streamed down her face, but this time, they could not fix anything. Emeka turned away and continued attending to his customers, calm, focused, free. And in that moment, Chikamso understood everything. The man she once insulted was the man she should have loved. The man she threw away was the man who became her greatest lesson. Slowly, she stood up, wiped her tears, and walked out of the shop, alone, broken, changed. As she stepped back into the noisy streets of Idomota, she whispered to herself, "All that glitters is not gold, and the love I abandoned is forever lost." Inside the shop, Emeka continued his work, not angry, not bitter, just free, because sometimes the greatest success is not money, it is peace. Life lessons from this story. 1. Never leave someone who stood by you during your worst. 2. Not all wealth is real. Some are temporary illusions. 3. Loyalty is more valuable than money. 4. Opportunities should be respected, not abused. 5. The same person you look down on today may be above you tomorrow. 6. True success is not just money, it is peace of mind. What would you have done if you were Emeka? Comment below, like, subscribe for more real-life stories.